Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Since I didn't really like the video that I did about all the books I had to read in college, I decided to do a little spin on it. I wanted to do the book cake tag, but the catch is that I can only use books I've read in college. See what I did there? So in this tag you get all the ingredients you need to make a cake, and every ingredient has a description of a book, and you'll have to choose one book per ingredient. So let's start with flour, a book that was slow to start but picked up as you went along. I chose a short story for this called The Celebrated Jumping Frog by Mark Twain. It's about this guy who is looking for someone, and he meets Simon Wheeler. And Simon Wheeler, instead of helping him, tells a story about Jim Smiley and his jumping frog. So the entire premise and beginning of the short story is kind of building up, since it's a story in a story. But once we get to it, it really picks up speed, and it's actually very nice to read. Ingredient number 2, margarine. A book that has a really rich and great plot. I chose The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, also by Mark Twain. That's the last one, I promise. It's about Huckleberry Finn, who runs away from his abusive drunk dad, and Jim, who is a slave. It takes place in the late 19th century. And they go on a big adventure together, and it actually tackles themes that are relevant today still. So I actually didn't finish this book. I had to look up how it ended because I had to read so much around that time period. This one was actually one of the bigger books, so I kind of had to drop it, but I was slowing down and enjoying the story for a change, instead of just reading the book because I had to. So yeah. Ingredient number 3, eggs. A book that you thought was going to be bad but turned out to be quite enjoyable. I chose a play that I didn't read. It is called Angels in America by Tony Kushner, and I totally didn't forget to say that while I was filming, and it's not 5 hours later or something like that, like not at all. We had a class and we had to read 6 plays and that we discussed in class, and then 6 more during our free time that we would discuss during the exam. But it was so much. We had so much work that I just read the synopsis when I was studying for the exam, and it was so cool. It is written in the 90s and is described as a gay fantasy. It tackles subjects like coming out of the closet, AIDS. There's a drag queen in it, but also Mormons. And then suddenly there's angels who descended from heaven to walk amongst humans. It's so cool, man. I wish I read it. I still haven't. But yeah, the dude I gave this class was kind of set in his way, so it was such a surprise to see him tackle a play that was discussing all of these topics, so that's why I chose it. Ingredient number 4 is sugar. A sugary or sweet book. I chose To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. It doesn't really have a big or like advanced plot. It's about his family and a bunch of friends that are in a house and basically are just going about their day. Then time passes, 10 years pass by, and then again we see this family and this group of friends in that house. And even though it tackles some sad themes, overall it's very wholesome to just see them interact with each other, see them be a family, which is very sweet. Number 5, ICING, a book covering every element you enjoy. The book that I wanted to take I actually saved for later. So in second place is another short story called To Build a Fire by Jack London. It's a naturalist short story, so it tackles elements like surviving in the wild, and my favorite genre is post-apocalyptic stuff, so that's what comes closest to it. It also has a dog. It more so focuses on the character rather than the overall plot, and I'm a character-driven reader, so it does check a bunch of boxes. The next ingredient is sprinkles, a book or series you can turn to for a little pick-me-up when you're feeling down. I chose Soul Tourists by Bernardine Evaristo. It's an unpopular opinion actually. Most people that read it, or that I know that read it, don't like it. But it is a story about a guy named Stanley Williams and a girl named Jessie O'Donnell. Stanley Williams, his dad just died and he's stuck in his 9-to-5 job. and Jessie O'Donnell is a barmaid who really wants to travel through Europe. They meet, and that's when their travel actually starts. And they're both black characters, and especially Stanley, by doing this, he kind of connects with his heritage a little bit more and his ancestry. It's kind of magical realism-ish. There are some supernatural elements in it. Also, it has a bunch of like poems in between or weird symbols, and the way it is written changes constantly. A lot of people don't like it, but I actually thought it added so much flavor and like quirkiness. So I did enjoy it, and even though it tackled some serious subjects, it always did it very lightheartedly. Lastly, the cherry on top, your favorite book of this year so far, which I changed to the favorite book I read in university as a whole, and it has to be Dracula. It is gothic, it has characters that are fully fleshed out, it had high stakes, it had some sexiness, it had vampires, obviously, because it's Dracula. Yeah, I really like the book. It has, the style is true, like letters and journal entries and diaries and stuff like that. That's the only book I read when I studied that I actually gave 5 stars. I plan on rereading it eventually. But yeah, those are all the books I've read. This will probably be a shorter video, but that's okay. It can be short for a change. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this quick video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!